How can you find the areas of trapezoids, parallelograms, and rhombi? Think about this question during the lesson. Look at the parallelogram. If you move the triangle to the opposite side, you form a rectangle with the same area as the parallelogram. How can you find the area of the parallelogram? To compose a rectangle from a parallelogram, first, decompose the parallelogram into a right triangle and a trapezoid. What is the formula for the area of a rectangle?
Select your answer.
The formula for the area of a rectangle is area equals length times width. How are the rectangles and parallelograms similar? Both have two pairs of opposite sides that are parallel and the same length. The base of the parallelogram, B, equals the length of the rectangle, L, which is 12 meters. The height of the parallelogram, H, which is perpendicular to the base, equals the width of the rectangle, W, which is 6 meters. How do you know that the height of the parallelogram, H, is the same as the width of the rectangle, W? Both the height and width can be represented by the same line segment perpendicular to the base. The area of the parallelogram equals the area of the rectangle. How would you describe the formula for the area of a parallelogram in words? To find the area of a parallelogram, multiply the base by the height. The base is 12 meters and the height is 6 meters. The area of the parallelogram is 72 square meters. Now you know how you can find the area of a parallelogram.
Apply the formula to find the area of the parallelogram.
The formula is area is base times height. So we're going to put B for the base. And then we're going to substitute our base. Our base will be the 7 centimeters, and our height will be that dotted line going up and down, and that's 4 5/10. And then we are going to multiply the 7 and 4 5/10 and get 31 5/10 as the area of that parallelogram, and you write it again here in this box. So it's 31 5/10 centimeters squared.
The pendant at the right is in the shape of a rhombus. A rhombus is a parallelogram with sides of equal length. What is the area of the pendant?
The formula is base times height, and we have the base has the 3 8/10 centimeters and the height as 3 centimeters. Then you multiply the two together, and that's how you get your 11 4/10 centimeters squared.
A builder needs to cut one stone in the shape of a trapezoid to fit in the space. What is the area of the front side of that stone?
You see the paver of the stone, and you see that it has this front piece here. That's what it's asking us to find the area of that front piece. So the height is from that corner down, and that is 5 inches, and then the base would be 4 inches. And if you look just at that portion, we have a triangle, right? So, or actually it's asking for, this is the whole front portion, sorry. So then you have this whole base, which is 10 inches, and then from here to here as 6 inches as well. So we have two identical trapezoids that form a parallelogram. So here's the whole thing here. And then here it says the base of the trapezoid, which I just went over. And then on the other one, you have your base and other base here as well, 10 and 6 inches. The height for both would be the exact same. So the length of the bases will be base 1 plus base 2. And then that's in both cases here. And then we take the formula for parallelogram, and we have area is equal to base 1 plus base 2 times the height. So remember, I mentioned before that when you have a parentheses and a variable or number right next to each other without a multiplication symbol, it still means to multiply. So that's why it's multiplied by h. So when they substituted the variables with numbers, you have 6 plus 10, which was the basis of both actual parts of the parallelogram, which are the two trapezoids, times 5. And the 5 is the height. So once you add 6 and 10, 16, and then 16 times 5. And then the area of one trapezoid is half of the area of the parallelogram. So this was the whole parallelogram, but we only want half of it, which is that front piece. So you multiply 1/2 times 80, which is the same as dividing by 2, and that gives us 40 inches squared. And so we look here at the formula for a trapezoid, and its area is equal to 1/2 times base 1 plus base 2 times height. And they've substituted all of the variables, and then they went ahead and did the same thing we did up here, and it still is equal to 40 inches squared.
Part A. Apply the formula to find the area of the rhombus.
The formula is area equals base times height. So let's substitute the variables. So for B, our base will be 22 and 5/10. So we have area is equal to 22 and 5/10 times our height, which is 20. I'm just going to put a parentheses around it so we know we're multiplying. Well, that's another way of saying we're multiplying. And so then you take the 22 and 5/10, multiply it by 20, and that gives you the area. That is 450. So the area is equal to 450 millimeters squared.
Part B. Apply the formula to find the area of the trapezoid.
The formula for trapezoid is area equals 1/2 times base 1 plus base 2 times height. So let's substitute our variables. So we have 1/2 times base 1, which is going to be, let's choose 12. And just as a little thing to note, it doesn't matter which one of the bases goes first because you're just adding them up. So I could have done 20 and then 12. It would have given us the same answer. And then the height will be the 8 centimeters. Okay. And now we go ahead and solve it. So do parentheses first because we're doing order of operations. So 12 plus 20 is 22. So now we have 1/2 times 22 times 8, right? And so now we can do 22 times 8, or we could do 1/2 times 22. I'm going to do 1/2 times 22 because that will be dividing 22 by 2, which will give me 11. And then I have 11 times 8, and then that gives me 88. And so my area is 88 centimeters squared.